Imagine this. You mention a tattoo you've been dreaming about for months, something deeply personal, something tied to your family, and then your so-called friend steals the idea, down to the exact details. But what if I told you? I lied about the design, and she tattooed the fake story permanently on her body. This is how a toxic friendship turned into one of the sweetest, most unexpected revenges I've ever seen. If you've ever had someone try to outshine you, humiliate you, or steal something that mattered to you, this story is going to hit home. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's dive into one of the funniest and most satisfying karma moments ever inked into existence. I was 25 when I met Peggy. She wasn't a friend of mine originally. She was introduced through a mutual friend after moving into the apartment next door. At first, I tried to keep an open mind. Sure, she gave me a few backhanded compliments that rubbed me the wrong way, but I told myself, don't judge too quickly. Give her a chance. Big mistake. The very first night she joined one of our game nights, I realized she wasn't just unfriendly. She was a pick-me girl, the kind who thrives on putting other women down to look better in front of guys. Conflict escalation. Peggy's toxic behavior. Game 1. Sardines. We were drunk, running around in the dark, hiding and searching. Suddenly, Peggy pretended to trip and shoved my head straight into a shelf. The impact was sharp, a burst of pain across my forehead, and before I could even recover, she laughed. She actually bragged about it in front of everyone, saying, "I found him first. That's why I pushed you." My blood boiled, but I swallowed it, not wanting to ruin the night. Game 2. King's Cup. During Never Have I Ever, Peggy turned to me with this smug little smile and said, "Never have I ever gotten divorced." Now, normally, I'm not ashamed of my past. Everyone there already knew about my divorce, and my real friends had been nothing but supportive. But the way she said it, the way she tried to single me out, turning my life into her punchline, it stung. It wasn't playful. It was malicious. And it didn't stop there. For months, any time we were around our mutual friend Mark, she turned up the cruelty. Mark was attractive, charming, and one of my closest friends. And Peggy? She couldn't stand that. Every chance she got, she tried to embarrass me, undermine me, shove me out of the spotlight so she could have his attention. I could feel it. That quiet war women sometimes face. The silent competition. The fake smiles, masking hostility. She wanted me humiliated, small, and forgotten. The tattoo setup. Now, here's where things get interesting. I had been planning a tattoo for over a year. Not just any tattoo, a dragon with flowers that reminded me of my mom. It was personal, thought out, special. One day, I was chatting with a friend about my upcoming appointment when Peggy's ears perked up. Suddenly, she was all questions. "Oh, what kind of dragon? Where are you getting it? Why that design?" The moment I saw that sly grin spread across her face, my stomach sank. That wasn't curiosity. That was calculation. And in that instant, something inside me clicked. If Peggy wanted to play dirty, I was going to let her. So, I lied. I told her I loved the movie Spirited Away, which, to be fair, I actually do. But then I wove this elaborate, emotional story about how my dad introduced me to it, how Haku, the dragon character, meant so much to me, and how I dreamed of having him wrap around my arm. Peggy hadn't even seen the movie. She nodded along, pretending to understand, her greedy little eyes lighting up like she had just struck gold. And I left it at that. The revenge. 2 weeks later, She came strutting up to me with this big grin, tugging up her sleeve. And there it was, a massive, sprawling Haku dragon from Spirited Away, wrapped around her arm. My deeply personal tattoo idea. The irony? I had completely made it up. She stood there, waiting for me to react. I could see it in her face. She thought I'd be devastated. She thought she'd stolen something precious, carved it into her skin before I could claim it myself. And I'll admit, my first reaction was shock. Then guilt. For a split second, I thought, maybe I went too far. Maybe lying was cruel. But then the laughter came. Not out loud, just bubbling inside me. Because it hit me all at once. She had tattooed a fake story onto her body forever. She had no connection to it, no meaning, no real love for the design. She did it purely out of spite, and ended up branding herself with my lie. For 2 years, every time I thought about it, I bounced between guilt and hysterical laughter. And then, just recently, I found out the truth that made it even sweeter. A friend who had gone with Peggy to the tattoo appointment told me exactly what Peggy had said while sitting in that chair. She's going to be